Good morning, students. Welcome on my YouTube channel Value Education. So today we will discuss about block 2 of MMPC 001, that is managerial processes 1, and unit will be planning. So let's discuss about it. Planning. So first of all we cover its objectives. After reading these units you should be able to understand the meaning of planning as a management function, characteristics of planning function, how planning processes takes place, and merits and demerits of planning function and various types of planning. This most important topic, and its structure will be introduction, meaning of planning, nature of planning, step of planning, why planning is necessary, necessity of planning, and type of planning, summary, self-assessment questions, and references for the reading. So we will read about its introduction. So the basic and primary aim of management is to solve the problem effectively, efficiently, and creatively. Due to this, principle of management have been categorized into four basic functions, namely planning, organizing, leading and controlling. यानी कि जो इसका फ्रेमवर्क है वो POLC. P stand for planning, O stand for organizing, L stand for leading, and C stand for controlling. These integrated and highly essential functions of an organization ensure the smooth functioning of business enterprises on day-to-day basis and developing a strong foundation for a long-term survival and growth. Other academics and business gurus have ramified these management functions like planning, organization, staffing, directing, and controlling, no matter what the bifurcation is. Planning is the first and most crucial function that need to be performed for the effective function of other management function. जैसे कि आप जानते हैं कि कोई भी चीज़ हो, कोई भी मैनेजमेंट हो या कोई भी फंक्शन हो या कोई भी वर्क हो, जॉब हो, कंपनी हो, आप कोई भी चीज़ सोचते हैं तो सबसे पहले आप क्या है कि माइंड मैप करते हैं कि प्लानिंग करते हैं. सो अगर वो प्लानिंग आपकी इफेक्टिवली हो पाती है तो मतलब जो आपका गोल है वो आप अचीव कर पाते हैं. So planning is done by managers at all levels of organization. You will see the all managers plan, though the character and breadth of planning may differ at different level of organization. For example, while an assistant engineer at a work site plans for the accomplishment of work at his site from day to day or 2 or 3 days in advance, the chief project manager must plan for the whole project over a larger period of times. Similarly, a multinational company top management must plan over a longer time frame for a worldwide market. So there are three examples. Which one are uh, first one is जो असिस्टेंट इंजीनियर होता है वो अपने वर्क साइट के ऊपर प्लान करता है कि वो या तो डे टू डे प्लान करता है कि आज का मेरा जो काम रहेगा मेरी साइट पर से इतना रहेगा, या फिर वो 2 या 3 दिन का एक्स्ट्रा सोच सकता है. उसके बाद जो चीफ प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर होता है CPM, वो प्लान करता है होल प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में, मतलब लार्जर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम्स, यानी कि 1 महीना, 2 महीने, 1 साल जो भी उसका प्रोजेक्ट है उसके बारे में सोच सकता है. बट सिमिलरली जो MNC कंपनीज होती है, जैसे कि आपको पता ही है कि जो मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज होती है वो टॉप मैनेजमेंट प्लान करती है, ठीक है, ओवर ए लार्जर टाइम फ्रेमवर्क फॉर ए वर्ल्ड वाइड मार्केट. जैसे कि आपको पता ही है कि जो MNC कंपनी है वर्ल्ड वाइड के बारे में सोचती है, उनका प्लान जो रहता है वो मतलब काफ़ी इफेक्टिव हो, जो उसके कस्टमर्स हो, जो उसके प्रोडक्ट्स हो, वो काफ़ी मतलब कि हैप्पी हो. Planning is a means to some end and such involves choice among alternatives, alternative goals, alternative programs and alternative means of achievements. जैसे कि आपको पता ही है कि जो अल्टरनेटिव्स होते हैं तो चीज़ मतलब वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. अगर आपका प्लान ए अगर फेल हो जाता है किसी कारणवश तो आपके पास प्लान बी भी रहना बहुत ज़रूरी है, जिससे कि आपके पास जो अल्टरनेटिव प्रोग्राम है वो मतलब कि आपका फेल ना हो. ऐसी कोशिश की जाती है। तो व्हाट अल्टरनेटिव टू चूज गिव राइज टू डिसीजन मेकिंग विच एवरी मैनेजर विल बी रिक्वायर्ड टू डू। फर्स्ट वन इज question, do you plan your day? How? So do you plan for your holidays, vacation? How? Why? ये questions हैं. Have you actively participated in the planning of some big event like the annual function of your college or the marriage of a female relative of yours? uh, Recapitulate how the event was planned. जैसे कि आपने देखा होगा कि कोई भी शादी मैरिज होती है या आपने मतलब आप प्लानिंग करते हैं कि मेरे को अगर आज 10 बजे ऑफिस पहुंचना है तो मेरे को घर से कितने बजे निकलना पड़ेगा, मेरे को टैक्सी स्टैंड पे कितने बजे पहुंचना पड़ेगा, मेरी खुद की कार है तो मैं ड्राइव करके कितने टाइम तक पहुंच जाऊंगा, और वहां पर जाने का मैं घर से ड्रेस पहन के जा रहा हूँ या फिर मैं घर जो मेरा रिग है मैं वहाँ जाके डोन वियर कर रहा हूँ, तो कितना टाइम लगेगा, उससे पहले ब्रीफिंग में पहुँचना है। तो मतलब सब प्लानिंग आपके माइंड में चलती रहती है। Meaning of plannings. So nothing can affect the success and failure of a business more than the planning function of an enterprise. The globalized and highly dynamic work environment strive for effective planning and its management. This crucial dictum in highly recognized and its fuller assimilation can only be possible with the understanding of what is meant by planning. Sorry. And planning is a management function initiates with setting business objective and determining various course of action to achieve stated objectives. A successful and if efficient business manager scan the environmental conditions of the business organization and forecasting future business conditions. Scanning and predicting future business environment requires a manager to be far-sighted and a good decision maker. Planning is a two-way process of looking back to drive future course of action. This preparatory step is systematic and scientific as it follows an order of what, when, how, and whom a specific job would be carried out. It is a detailed and comprehensive blueprint of organizational functioning in figure. Planning involves a thorough examination of an organization, available physical as well as human resources to coordinate and contribute towards organizational activities. So, this basic management function involves developing a detailed organizational plan to balance between needs and demand of organizational resources and achieving organizational result thereof. Feature of planning. So planning focus on achieving objectives. So the feature of planning है उसमें जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट जो हमारा फोकस रहता है प्लानिंग का वो रहता है अचीविंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स। जो हमारे ऑब्जेक्टिव्स है, जो हमारा उद्देश्य है, उसको हम कैसे अचीव करेंगे, तो ये प्लानिंग के ऊपर मतलब मेन इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स या मेन इम्पोर्टेंट फोकस डालने वाली चीज़ रहेगी। यानी कि प्लानिंग फोकसेस ऑन अचीविंग ऑब्जेक्ट्स, तो ऑब्जेक्ट्स को अचीव करने के लिए। फिर सेकंड वन इज़ प्राइमरी फंक्शंस। सो जब वो चीज़ हमें रन करवानी है तो उसके लिए जो प्राइमरी फंक्शन हमें चाहिए वो कैसे होंगे, जैसे कि जो हमारे फंक्शंस हैं मैनेजमेंट, फॉर एग्जांपल ऑर्गेनाइजिंग है, स्टाफिंग है, डायरेक्टिंग एंड कंट्रोलिंग है। प्लानिंग इज़ परवेसिव्स। जैसे कि आपको पता ही है कि जो प्लानिंग है वो परवेसिव होनी चाहिए, जैसे कि एज इट इज़ रिक्वायर्ड एट ऑल द लेवल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट बट इट्स स्कोप में वेरी, इसका स्कोप चेंज होता रहता है। तो प्लानिंग इज़ कंटिन्यूस, जैसे कि जो प्लानिंग है वो कंटिन्यूस होनी चाहिए। उसके बाद प्लानिंग इज़ फ्यूचरिस्टिक होनी चाहिए, और प्लानिंग इन्वॉल्व्स डिसीजन मेकिंग एंड प्लानिंग इज़ ए मेंटल एक्सरसाइज। जैसे कि इसमें सोचते रहता है आदमी, विजुलाइजेशन करता रहता है, जजमेंट करता रहता है, गैस करता रहता है, और माइंड मैपिंग चलती रहती है मतलब दिमाग के अंदर कहीं ना कहीं, तो वो भी एक मेंटल एक्सरसाइज है, भी इंपॉर्टेंट है। नेचर ऑफ प्लानिंग प्रोसेस। तो जो नेचर रहता है प्लानिंग प्रोसेस का वो कैसे रहता है, ये कोग्निटिव प्रोसेस है। कोग्निटिव प्रोसेस मतलब कि द प्लानिंग प्रोसेस इज हाईली इंटेलेक्चुअल एंड दस इज कोग्निटिव। मतलब हाईली इंटेलेक्चुअल है। दिस मैनेजरियल फंक्शन इज अबाउट थिंकिंग विद क्रिएटिविटी टू यूटिलाइज एक्साइटिंग अवेलेबल रिसोर्सेज फॉर अवेलेबल अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड organization that lack in study today's opportunity and do not reap its benefit profitability in time may take the opportunity into problem tomorrow. Planning for manager involves functions such as what, how, when, and by whom is to be done. An organization that makes a timely decision today with careful thinking need not worry for the future. Such an organization can effectively establish equilibrium between the external environment and internal environment. Planning with critical thinking and high level of cognition ensure effective decision making. And second one is planning versus forecasting. Many times planning and forecasting seems to be similar to each other, though they are common to each other to some extent. Yet they hold a greater degree of differences. Forecasting refers to what is expected to happen if there are no way out to escape. Whereas planning is about what one wants to happen, forecasting leads to planning. For example, a threat to natural resources may encourage people and nation to plan for the conservation of natural resources. Though planning involves evolution, assessment, estimates, and calculations. So third one is planning is the accomplishment of group objectives. So an organization operates with the joint efforts of various individuals with varied personalities, skill, attitude, learning, and motivations. These varied individuals with varied belief and personality making a cohesive group that operates harmoniously to achieve organizational goal. Thus, planning involves achieving the objective of individual, keeping group and organizational objective in mind. Fourth one is the choice between alternatives. So, modern business environment is highly dynamic. बिजनेस जो होता है वो डायनेमिक होता है, स्टिक नहीं होता है. सो जो मॉडर्न बिजनेस की अगर हम बात करें तो ये क्या है कि हाईली डायनेमिक है एंड चेंजेस एट ए रैपिड पेस. सो इसमें जो चेंज होते हैं वो जैसे कि मैं आपको बता दूं कि आज के टाइम, पहले आपने देखा होगा कि जो मोबाइल वगैरह हुआ करते थे वो काफ़ी मतलब जो उनकी कंपनियां भी काफ़ी कम हुआ करती थी जो उनको मैन्युफैक्चर करती थी. बट आज के टाइम में कंपटीशन ज़्यादा हो गया है. सो जो आपको पता है कि जो मॉडर्न बिजनेस है कंपटीशन ज़्यादा है, तो उसको जो इन्वायरमेंट है मॉडर्न बिजनेस का वो हाईली डायनेमिक हो गया है. उसमें जो चेंज है वो रैपिड पेस में आ रहा है. जैसे कि आप देख रहे हैं कि कार के मॉडल है या मोबाइल के मॉडल है, लैपटॉप के मॉडल है, वो आपको काफ़ी रैपिडली मिल जाते हैं. पहले एक मोबाइल आया तो 2 साल बाद कोई दूसरा मोबाइल आता था. अब कंपनी क्या कर रही है कि एक ही साल में 4-5 तरह के मॉडल्स आपके सामने रख दे रही है. मतलब एक रैपिड पेस के अंदर ये आज आया है, एक कल आया है, एक परसों आया, ऐसे करके मतलब आपको कुछ टाइम के बाद ही मिल जाते हैं. द प्लान एंड प्रोसीजर दैट यूज टू बी इफेक्टिव इन पास्ट tend to be obsolete and redundant in the present scenario with a completely new different business environment. Similarly, the presently available resources may not be available tomorrow or may not be fulfill the future new demands. Thus, planning involves judicious adjustment and adaptation in resources to grab the emerging business opportunities. The top management journal follows 3 steps. So जो टॉप मैनेजमेंट क्या करते हैं, 3 स्टेप को फॉलो करते हैं. सो द डिसीजन अबाउट द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ बिजनेस, फॉर एग्जांपल प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. सबसे पहले क्या है कि उनको प्रॉफिट होना चाहिए. अगर प्रॉफिट नहीं होगा तो फिर कोई काम मतलब उस मैनेजर की कोई मतलब, अगर देखोगे आप जिस कंपनी ने कोई आदमी कंपनी खोलता है, कोई ओनर, तो वो प्रॉफिट के लिए ही खोलता है, प्रॉफिट गेन के लिए. सेकंड वन इज़ ग्रोथ एंड थर्ड वन इज़ कंज्यूमर सेटिस्फिकेशन. जैसे कि आपने देखा होगा कोई भी प्रोडक्ट हम परचेज करते हैं फ्लिपकार्ट उससे या फिर उससे एक आपसे एक 5 स्टार करके आते हैं कि आपको मतलब कितनी स्टार उसमें से चूज कर किए हैं कि आपको मतलब ये प्रोडक्ट हमारा कैसा लगा, तो आप उसको मतलब जो आप सेटिस्फिकेशन है वो एज ए स्टार दे सकते हो उनको. 5 स्टार मतलब मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगा, 1 स्टार मतलब ठीक ठाक है, ऐसे करके मतलब उनकी रेटिंग्स उनके पास चली जाती है. द नेक्स्ट इज it focus on selecting the strategy to achieve these objectives followed by operation goals. Planning is all pervasive. Planning as a management function is so imperative that is pervades in all managerial function for a goal-oriented organization. It would be wrong to state the planning is just a first step. Rather, it is the step that influence each managerial function be organizing the or controlling. Moreover, it is wrong to quote the planning is a task performed by top level management only, though they devote considerable time and discussion in the planning process, yet the role of the middle and lower level of management at their respective activities cannot be neglected to draw a successful effective plan. Planning is flexible. So for an organization to be successful, it is a crucial to establish synergies between opportunity and available resources. Forecasting the growth opportunity and adapting the resources according does provide a competitive advantage to an organization. This require carefully identification of KSAs of people, man, material, and money to make to the take advantage of available opportunities. Since the business environment is prone to suffer from uncertainty and dynamism, alternation in a mix of materials and plan is very essential to survive and suit the sales. Planning is the integrated process, then next topic is steps involved in the planning process. So first one step is setting up organizational objectives, and second one is developing planning premises, and third one is identification of alternative course of actions, and fourth one is evaluating alternative course of actions, and fifth one is selection of alternatives, sixth one is implementation of the plan को implement करना है, follow up of actions, and last one is follow up of action. So follow up action, this is the crucial stage as it involves seeing whether selected and implemented planning is working as per plan or not. So this stage is essential and requires close monitoring to assess deviation in selection and implementation and achieve desired objectives. So why planning is necessary, मतलब importance of planning. So we will discuss about its importance. So the fast changing business environment create the need for development and planning. जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले बता दिया है कि आजकल क्या है कि इन्वायरमेंट के अंदर बहुत फास्ट चेंज हो रहा है, कंपनियां प्रोडक्ट्स इतनी ज़्यादा लेके आ रही है, मार्केट में बहुत ज़्यादा कंपटीशन है. सो फास्ट चेंजिंग बिजनेस इन्वायरमेंट क्रिएट द नीड, मतलब ये ज़रूरत बन गई है कि डेवलपिंग एंड प्लानिंग की करना ही करना है आपको. फास्ट चेंजिंग बिजनेस इन्वायरमेंट आपको क्रिएट करना ही करना है. सो एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दैट अडोप्ट्स ए लाइक additional approach in the identification of environmental change would surely struggle to survive and grow. The following points to how planning is an important management function. So ensure selection of optimum goal. So first of all we will ensure जो हमारा ऑप्टिमम गोल है उसका जो हमने सिलेक्शन किया है उसके बारे में. सो प्लानिंग इज द cognitive and intellectual process of selecting the best course of action from various available alternatives. It is also about selecting one course of action that has sound chance of being profitable, feasible, achievable and economical, and reject the other courses of action that are not so feasible and profitable. Second one is manages complexities. A single organization is a function of the heterogeneous group of human resources who possess different KSA values, beliefs, culture and motivation level. In such heterogeneous working environments, it is obvious to have a uh, disharmony in term of organizational and individual interest. And third one is survive environmental change. The business environment witness tremendous changes now and then. From a conservative business model, keep itself updated to meet changing demand with changing environment, change in demand, change in technology, fashion, preference, social values, event, fact and organization normal course of operation. Fourth one is protection from failures. And fifth one is unity of action, support, control and coordination. ये आपके टीम वर्क की बात करता है. एंड सेवन्थ वन इज प्लानिंग प्रमोट इनोवेटिव आइडियाज़. सो इनोवेशन के बारे में मैंने आपको बता ही दिया है पिछले यूनिट्स में, आप उसमें लिख सकते हैं. इनोवेशन इज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स. एंड एट्थ वन इज प्लानिंग फैसिलिटी डिसीजन मेकिंग भी ऑलरेडी मैं आपको पढ़ा चुका हूँ. देन लिमिटेशन की बात करते हैं. सो दो planning is the first and foremost managerial function. Still, it is indulged in various negative connotations and limitations. These limitations are, so first one जो limitations इसमें रहती है वो पहली हमारी जो है वो uncertainly है. जैसे कि planning function prepares policies and procedures for future and set goals to achieve in future. Owing to uncertain nature of future, planning function tends to be ineffective as nothing can be assessed about future with surety. So planning is prone to failure many times, as planning is about the future course of action can only be based on anticipation, assumption and speculation and probabilities. The management sets the goal to achieve, prepares a plan to achieve those, runs with the risk of failures. Though data analysis and statistics have made the planning accurate and effective, yet its 100% success can never be ensured. Planning is cognitive plan. Cognitive plan already discussed. And abstract, as discussed, planning is about predicting future. It's involved dealing with vague alternatives. It addresses a question like what if, since it is a function of assumptions, estimation, guesswork and speculation. Planning works in abstraction with nothing hard and fast and concrete. Fourth one is rigidity. So setting up of objectives, choosing a course of action to be implemented to achieve those objectives make the planning rigid enough to deviate from the stated path. Work for an uncertain future with abstractions and speculation through uh, predetermined goal and course of action makes planning function inefficient and ineffective many times. And cost affairs, so planning is an expensive function both in term of time and money. It is required a hug outlay to assess the estimate information from within the outside the organization. This requires an investment of time with serious mental and cognitive devotions. Since it is an intellectual function, it is required expert to assess, evaluate a problem and suggestion a solution thereafter. Many times business organization resorts to experts house offering planning functions from data extraction to data analysis to policy formation. These outside experts cause huge cost to an organizations. Uh, So benefits from organizational perspectives: give an organizational a sense of direction. Without plan and goals, organizations merely react to daily occurrence without considering what will happen in the long run. For example, the solution that makes sense in the short term doesn't always make sense in the long term. Plans avoid this drift situation and ensure that short range effort will support and harmonize with future goals. Focus attention on objective and results. Establish a basis for teamwork. Helps anticipate problem and cope with change. provide guidelines for decision making, serve as a prerequisite to employ all other management functions. Then type of planning. So based on the organizational objectives and goals, the planning can broadly be classified into three main categories. These are strategic plan, tactical planning, and operational planning. The organization work in an uncertain business environment, thus it is sus, uh, susceptible to various threats as well as opportunities from the environment. When an organization analyzes possible threats and competitive opportunity within the environment and evaluates its strength and weaknesses to position itself to take the advantage of the environment of survive. The the organization plans strategically strategic plan involves long-term commitment, often 5 or more years. This planning is complex as it includes the entire organization and for formulation of objectives. And since it is long term and highly technical, therefore top management is involved in it. On the other hand, tactical planning of less long term is natural, usually for 1 to 3 years, and it is about developing means and mechanism to be adopted for the implementation of strategic plan. And third one is operational planning. Seems to functional planning, where organization wide or goal and objective for each unit of sub unit is term plan for less than 1 year as its aim to eliminate current operational problems. Planning at this level support at the higher level planning of tactical and strategy. The above discussion classified the planning into three broad categories. However, planning can also be classified based on the time frame involved in it. Broadly, plans under planning are divided into three parts: long-term plan, medium-term plan, and short-term plan. Plan those are highly technical and deals with the competitive aspects of organization are termed a long-term plan, as they involve allocation of resources for a long period, usually between 5 and 15 years. However, they may vary concerning their nature, scope, complexity, and size, and are usually somewhat vague. These plans are more susceptible to uncertain events that may leave a significant impact on the organization, such as technological changes in consumer behavior. Government policies can significantly affect the organization and involve serious attention of the top management to make a long-term plan. Plans that are relatively detailed and specific and usually range between 2 and 5 year or medium-term plan. These plans are operational as decision like raw material purchase, overhead expense, labor wage, production, etc. taken. Though these decisions are also crucial to an organization, yet any flaw in planning would not result in serious failure, as it can be alternated in 2 3 years. Similarly, in short term plan for about a year or two or so are many specific and deals with day-to-day operation such as inventory management, employee training, etc. Type of plans, as the plans are pervasive. They are made at level of organization with different purpose perspective. Accordingly they may take various shapes and stand differently in the hierarchy of importance. The most popular ways to describe organizational plan are by their coverage: strategic, tactical, and operational; time frame, short and long term; specificity यानी कि specific versus directional; frequency of use, single use, and standing. Note that these planning classifications are not independent. For instance, short and long term plans are closely related to strategic and operational ones, and single use plan typically are strategic, long term, and directional. Strategic, tactical, and operational plans. Strategic plans are designed to meet the broad objectives of the organization. And organization strategic plan is the starting point of planning. uh, for example, in order to deal with uncertainties of raw material availability, a company's strategic plan may purpose to acquire its own facility for generating new material. Strategic plans serve as a guide to developing of sound sub-plan to accomplish the organizational objectives. Tactical plan, top level manager set the strategic plan that an organization should focus to achieve organizational goals. Example to strategic include set up a plant to generate raw material for the organization manufacturing activities, explore northeast market, and likewise middle manager uh, interpret these strategies and develop tactical plans for their departments that follow strategies in other to contribute to organizational goals. In other to develop tactical plans, middle management needs detailed reports. In short, tactical plans may be understood in following terms. Tactical planning deals primarily with the implementation phase of planning process. Tactical planning turns strategy into reality. Tactical planning usually has 1 to 2 year horizon, and tactical planning is usually tightly integrated with the annual budget process. Operational plan, the supervisor interpret the strategic and tactical management plan as they apply to his units. This way he makes operational plan to support tactical plans. These plans provide the details of how strategic plan will be accomplished. Example of planning by supervisor includes scheduling the work of employees and identifying need of staff and resources to meet future changes. Operating planning tends to repetitive and inflexible over the short run. Change comes only when it is obvious that plan and specific action steps are not working. Then procedure and objectives, future goals and desired states and organizational strive to achieve in futures. And management by objectives, MBO. And important question, management by objective, MBOs. So management by objective is a scientific and strategic approach to enhance the organizational objective, wherein goals and objectives of organizations are clearly state defined and conveyed by the manager to the entire organization. So MBO approaches follows the following 6 steps. First one is define organizational objective goals. Second one is defining objective for the employees. And third one is regular monitoring performance and progress. At this step, performance of each employee concerning performance standards and objectives are evaluated by the concerned manager or supervisors. And fifth one is providing feedback, and sixth one is performance appraisals. So policies refers to guide to think about the actions to be taken to make decision with regards to organizational objectives. It's ready reference and answer to all the questions that may arise in due course of time in running the organization. A good policy is the uh, one that is broad, consistent, adequate numbers, practical and flexible. The policy formulate must be outlined broadly, leaving more scope for managers to decide within the limits. Procedure. A good objectives and good policies may not lead to the desired results until a clear way and mean to achieve them are not established. An organization that doesn't ponder upon the procedure to be followed for accomplishing its objective and policies to be implemented is certain to flounder. Rules. In a general terms, rules are norms set by organization that governs what and what not be done under a certain situations. It is the self-imposed principle of action and varies with the situation. Rules set perimeters of be followed and standards to be achieved. Hence, it does not leave any scope for decision making. Strategies, planning practices in Indian organization, Richmond and Kopan, 1972, Bhatia in 1981, and summary. So we cover all the important portions. self-assessment questions, perspective planning in Mahindra, using Steel Company Limited. So you can read this, and unit is over. Thank you.